Amazing transformation, millions saved as pregnant woman's struggle is discovered by a generous young doctor. Anna James rushed into the diner, her hair a messy bun and her apron already stained from the previous shift. At 28, she barely felt like an adult. With a baby on the way and her elderly grandmother depending on her more than ever, the pressure weighed heavily on her shoulders. Each passing day felt like a relentless cycle of tables to serve, orders to take, and bills to juggle. And yet, as she slipped into the routine, the laughter and cynicism of her coworkers rang loudly in her ears, dreams shared only to be scoffed at. "You think you can do something other than wait tables?" They'd snicker, as if they knew her better than she knew herself. Maybe they were right. Not wanting to start an argument, Anna would smile tightly, the glimmer of ambition dimming. But deep inside, a fierce protectiveness of her family and her aspirations surged like a silent storm. Somehow, she clung to the belief that she could weave a different story for her future, despite the gnawing doubts that snared her thoughts. That in the midst of the chaos, a new figure appeared in the town: Dr. Nathaniel Parker. His independent spirit, coupled with his sharp tongue, intrigued Anna. Despite viewing her through a lens clouded by social class and bias, she could sense curiosity lurking behind his cautious demeanor. Their encounters often involved brief exchanges, her tales of herbal remedies from her grandmother dancing in the air, leaving Nathaniel with lingering questions he hadn't known existed. A subtle shift was occurring, but Anna felt just as tethered to the weight of her responsibilities as she was entranced by this man who barely understood her world. One evening, the chaos crescendoed when she returned home to find her grandmother unresponsive on the couch. Panic gripped her stomach, time freezing. She could feel all her hard-fought stability teetering on the brink of collapse. After a botched call to 911, she hesitated, her breath faltering as desperation clawed at her throat. In a moment of raw vulnerability, Anna reached out to Nathaniel, her voice shaky. He arrived, his presence somehow steadying amidst the swirling storm. "I can help you," he offered, an unexpected light in her darkened sense of reality. He suggested a path towards holistic health, a mentorship that felt like a bridge to something greater, something Anna had longed for amidst relentless cycles of service and exhaustion. Yet, his proposal sparked another wave of fear. What if they were right? What if stepping away from family and work meant losing her roots altogether? Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As she dove into her studies under Nathaniel's guidance, the whispers from her fellow waitstaff seeped into her thoughts, questioning her commitment, her priorities. Each scoff felt like nails on a chalkboard, increasing her uncertainties. Was she really pursuing this dream for herself or simply chasing the wind? The anticipation of exams closed around her like a vice, fear gnawed at her core. Her heart raced with doubt, muscle tension etched into her being as she wrestled with ambition versus obligation. Could she claim her dream against the ruthless backdrop of judgment? With a scholarship opportunity glowing ahead, the stakes grew immense. Anna teetered on the brink of recognizing herself, questioning everything she once held dear. Just when clarity felt tangible, a revelation about her past threatened to unravel the fragile fabric of her identity. All at once, she stood at a crucible of her own making, facing the swirling abyss of uncertainty and challenge, wondering would she stand up or slip back into the shadows when it mattered most. The weight of anticipation settled heavily on Anna's shoulders as she trudged through the old diner doors for her morning shift. Each familiar face blended into the blur of her doubts and fears. Yet, there was an ember of determination burning within her. Nathaniel's words echoed repeatedly in her mind, "You can turn your life around." The interactions with her colleagues gnawed at her, mockery cloaked in jest. She felt like an imposter. "What are you really doing here, Anna?" Their jibes rang out in her ear, mocking her shift from waitress to aspiring holistic practitioner. It stung the fact that their laughter only amplified her insecurities. The juxtaposition of serving pancakes while preparing for lifelong change felt increasingly surreal. Today was crucial. Her first exam loomed, and she had studied late into the night, a cascade of herbal notes and clinical terms swirling in her mind like a tempest. A fleeting glance at her phone revealed a text from Nathaniel, offering support. "Trust your instincts. You know more than you think." His encouragement felt like a lifeline, but the thought of failing haunted her, tethered her to a harsh reality and devoured her confidence. At a quiet moment during her shift, Anna stood by the coffee pot, hands trembling slightly as she poured a cup for a regular. A voice, cool and condescending, interrupted her thoughts. "Beach dreams, Anna. Or are you still playing your little healthcare fantasy?" It was Lisa, the most cynical of her coworkers. Anna forced a smile, but the comment cut deep, brewing again the doubts about her path. What if Lisa was right? The idea of leaving her job, her family, her known world for something so uncertain felt reckless. Guilt slipped into her heart like an unwanted guest. Could she genuinely pursue this dream when her family depended on her? Nathaniel's voice sliced through her turmoil. "Your family deserves a fighter. Show them that they can believe in you." The frantic pace of the diner felt stifling as the lunch rush began. Overwhelmed yet motivated, Anna focused on the rhythm of her work, allowing herself to escape into the flow. Each table she served was a reminder of the life she was momentarily sacrificing. Each glass of water poured was a step toward a brighter future that felt ever elusive. After her shift, the late afternoon sun cast an amber glow across her path as she made her way to Nathaniel's clinic. Her heart raced, a mix of anxiety and a flicker of hope swelling in her chest. This mentorship was her chance, and yet as she approached the door a niggling thought scrambled through her mind. What if Nathaniel's vision for her future didn't align with her own? Inside, he was working intently, the room fragrant with herbs and healing energy. When he turned and saw her, a smile broke through the furrows of his brow. "You're here. Ready?" His genuine enthusiasm momentarily silenced her jitters. "Yes," she replied, more resolute than she felt. They delved into discussion, notes scattered across the wooden table around them. With every question he posed, Anna felt her confidence swell and recede like the tide, wrestling with her fears. This journey wasn't merely about knowledge, it was about reconciling her past with the commitment she now sought. She had buried her potential beneath layers of obligation and ridicule. By the end of their session, Anna was exhausted yet invigorated. She had faced the wall of doubt head-on, but was it enough? With each twist and turn, her emotional resolve would be challenged. Just when she felt a solid footing, an unexpected call left her scrambling, throwing a wrench into her plans for the scholarship application that could elevate her future, igniting a new source of doubt. Anna's heart raced. She realized this was only the beginning. The moment of truth had arrived, and she would soon have to confront more than just her fears. Would she be prepared, or would her past drag her back when she needed to break free the most? The following morning greeted Anna with an unsettling weight, the remnants of yesterday's chaos folding into her thoughts. The ominous call about her scholarship weighed heavily, its implications digging under her skin like a persistent itch. Each ring of her alarm felt like a cruel reminder that her life's trajectory hung by a flimsy thread. Determined to reclaim her focus, she pulled on her uniform for the diner, but her heart wasn't in it. She half-heartedly flipped the last few pancakes, trying to ignore the exchange of wary glances from her coworkers. The tension ramped up with every order that washed over the counter, but Anna moved like a specter through familiar motions, a puppet mastering each task while her mind drifted to possibilities she dared only whisper to herself. What if she didn't get the scholarship? Worry twisted in her gut, a strangling vine wrapping tightly around her ambitions. She needed to shift her perspective. Failure was no longer an option. Nathaniel had conveyed the significance of believing in one's own worth, yet the specter of inadequacy hovered like a dark cloud. It gnawed at her, stifling even the tiniest flickers of hope. When her shift finally ended, Anna slipped into the back room, seeking solitude amid the clattering plates and rising din of chatter. With shaky hands, she pulled out her study materials. Surrounded by the scent of stale coffee and frying oil, she sank into the papers, attempting to drown out the whirlwind of uncertainty. Out of the corner of her eye, Lisa sauntered in, her presence commanding the energy of the room. Anna stiffened, half expecting another jab, but instead, Lisa brushed her wall of indifference and spoke, "Ready for that exam? You're not actually thinking you can make a living off herbal nonsense, are you?" Swallowing her pride, Anna gripped her notes tightly, using Lisa's disdain as fuel. "Yes, I am," she replied, injecting the words with new courage. "I'm going to make this work, and I'll prove people like you wrong." The words surprised her, but they also ignited something deep within, a burgeoning defiance against the binding threads of her self-doubt. After hastily packing up her things, Anna rushed to Nathaniel's clinic. As she entered, he sensed the storm brewing in her heart. "You seem different today," he remarked, eyeing her closely while adjusting the array of herbs along his desk. "I feel different," she acknowledged, the words tumbled out before she could second-guess herself. "I'm ready to face the exam, but I need to prepare. I can't afford to fail this." "Let's take a moment to visualize your success," Nathaniel guided, inviting her to breathe deeply. "Picture the exam. Not just what you've studied, but how you'll feel when it's done. Picture the pride overwhelming you, the satisfaction of proving the doubts wrong." For a fleeting moment, she allowed her mind to wander to that bright future, shunning the whispers of doubt that usually accompanied her ambitions. She envisioned toasting to her victories with loved ones, stepping into a new realm of possibilities. Yet, beneath that hopeful facade, anxiety curled around her resolve. As the discussion evolved into deeper practice and complex situations, Anna began to uncover hidden strengths within herself, each challenge unearthing her potential. Nathaniel's probing questions forced her to confront the fears lodged in the corners of her mind. With each moment of awareness, she found herself growing more fortified in her convictions. Just as clarity began to wash over her, another call broke the momentum, this one far more severe. Her mother's voice trembled, relaying distress about an emergency back home. Anna's resolve faltered momentarily as she felt the ground beneath her shift, the pressure of duty against her aspirations crashing over her. The question loomed: could she pursue her dreams while wrestling with her obligations? It was a decision that would fracture her world anew, forcing her to confront the divide between her past and her potential future. The stakes had been raised. Anna stood at a crossroads, vulnerability swelling within her. Would she take the leap, or would the familiar pull of duty draw her back yet again, chaining her to a life of what-ifs? Anna's heart raced. She realized she would have to confront not only her fears but also the fabric of her familial duties. Would this be a defining moment, or would she allow her past to dictate the course she was determined to change? The world narrowed for Anna, everything else receding as she absorbed her mother's panicked words. The emergency lingered like an unwelcome shadow, extending its reach into her carefully constructed plans. She needed to respond but felt her voice caught in a thick haze of uncertainty. "What happened?" she managed, trying to steady her breath. "Your father," her mother's voice cracked. "He's been in an accident." It's serious. In that instant, everything shifted. The dream she had carefully woven around the scholarship and her future seemed to unravel like a loose thread. Duty, the heavy mantle she had tried to shake off, settled back onto her shoulders with unyielding weight. Could she abandon her studies now, at this critical juncture? The thought clawed at her. She pictured herself packing up from the diner, an empty chair where she usually sat to study waiting in vain for her return. Deep down, she feared that walking away could signify surrender. Nathaniel, attentive as always, watched her closely. "You have a decision to make," he said gently, allowing her the space to think. The clinic was silent, the absence of normal chatter amplifying her apprehension. "Family is important. But so are your dreams, Anna. You have to weigh your priorities." Anna's gut twisted. She had spent years preparing for this moment, clawing her way through doubts and criticisms. To turn away now felt like betrayal, not just to herself, but to everything she had fought for. Yet, the family she loved was in distress. Could she prioritize her ambitions over a crisis that demanded her presence? Taking a shaky breath, Anna let the tempest in her heart settle for a moment. "I have to go home," she whispered, the words tasting bitter as they left her lips. There had been sacrifice woven into every step of her journey, it was an unspoken truth she had learned long ago. Yet this felt profoundly different, it was not merely the call of obligation, it was a necessity born out of love. Nathaniel nodded, his expression gravely understanding. "You can't be a healer if you neglect your roots. Just remember that the journey isn't over. This is a detour, not a dead end." His assurance was a flicker of light in the midst of confusion, and she held onto it like a lifeline. As she externalized her choice, Anna felt something solidify within her. While her body moved to gather her things, her mind fought to anchor the reasoning behind her decision. Maybe it was the pull of fate that life was leading her back to where the seeds of her passion were first planted, the roots of her motivation. "Your exam will be waiting for you," Nathaniel added, an encouraging glimmer sparking in his eyes. "And you'll come back stronger." The promise of returning solidified the fragile hope budding within her. Purpose surged through her veins again. She was still driven. Even in the face of potential derailment, she could find a way to move forward. Maybe her family needed her now, but that didn't mean her goals had evaporated. With her heart fluttering between dread and determination, Anna left the clinic, stepping into the wash of sunset that painted the sky. Each step toward her car felt heavy, almost ceremonial. The uncertainty of the road ahead loomed large, but it was not darkness, it was simply uncharted territory. She dared to question, could this tragic juncture be a catalyst for her growth instead of an anchor to her past? As she drove, her mother's anxious words echoed in her mind, mixed with Nathaniel's encouragement. Was it possible to weave the threads of her ambition into the fabric of duty? Anna's heartbeat quickened, she could forge an identity that intersected both family and future dreams. After all, she was stepping away temporarily, not relinquishing her purpose. Anna's fingers tightened around the steering wheel. Still, another conflict brewed beneath her new clarity. Was her sacrifice a noble one, or was it merely a rejection of her own growth? Staring down the road ahead, she couldn't shake the feeling that this was only the beginning of deeper entanglements, testing her resolve in ways she had yet to understand. The urgency swelled as she turned down the familiar road to her childhood home. Solutions danced on the edges of her consciousness, the examination still loomed like an undiminished tide. How would she navigate the impending challenges? Her thoughts spiraled inward, the blend of familial obligations and personal ambitions made her pulse race with anticipation. Just as the comforting glow of home washed over her, another wave of reality crashed in. What if her presence only deepened the family turmoil instead of healing it? The answers lay dimly ahead, obscured by a mixture of hope and apprehension. The moment she stepped inside might redefine everything again. Would she emerge with a newfound clarity, or would she find herself ensnared in the expectations she had tried so hard to escape? The tantalizing uncertainty lingered as she committed herself to the unknowns that awaited her, steeling against the possibility that this journey back could redefine the very essence of who she aspired to become. The door creaked open, revealing the familiar clutter of her childhood home. Anna's heart sank as she stepped inside, each footfall resonating with a blend of nostalgia and dread. The living room, with its faded couch and mismatched cushions, seemed unchanged yet charged with the weight of her father's accident. A part of her hesitated, yearning to return to the sanctuary of her studies, the promises of her ambitions swirling around her like a caress. But there was no mistaking the reality before her, the air was thick with unsaid words and barely contained fears. Her mother, perched on the edge of the worn armchair, looked up with eyes rimmed red and weary. Anna's chest tightened, she wondered if she could evoke even a flicker of understanding in her mother's mind, or if her ambitions were now a distant echo to be dismissed. "Anna," her mother's voice trembled, pulling her back from her thoughts. The fraught silence begged for guidance, for strength Anna feared she didn't possess. "I've been doing everything I can," but a tremor of despair danced in her voice. "Mom," Anna interjected softly, stepping closer, unsure how to bridge the chasm that was widening between their two realities. "I want to help. What do you need?" In that moment, her instinct was to soothe rather than to challenge. She could feel the pull of urgency in her veins, doing something instead of succumbing to paralysis. This was her task now, to mend the fissures that had opened with her father's accident. The question simmered: what could she offer that the family hadn't already exhausted themselves trying to provide? "It's just so much," her mother sighed, the weight of the world visibly pressing down. Anna felt the response loom like a tidal wave, slowly washing over her resolve. "I don't know how to keep everything together." Words rolled out of Anna almost unconsciously, laced with conviction. "We can organize a schedule for the hospital visits. I can take charge of the meals. We can set up a call rotation so you don't bear this burden alone." Each proposal slipped from her lips like small stones, building a foundation for purpose amidst chaos. Her mother blinked, momentarily stunned. "You would really? I just need to get a hold of everything. We can't let this tear us apart," she declared, the beginnings of determination rising in her voice, stronger than the doubt. Anna had spent countless hours studying conflict resolution, an irony not lost on her in this moment. "Anna, your studies," her mother began, but Anna cut her off. "My studies can wait. Right now, we need to hold our family together." The statement rang with urgency, her own determination solidifying as the words rushed forward. As she navigated these responsibilities, Anna felt a distinct shift within. What if her capability to support her family was a reflection of the growth she had sought? Each task she assigned herself became a thread, weaving a new tapestry connecting her back to her origins. Yet the undercurrent of unease remained. Was she merely delaying her aspirations? Doubt moved to rear its head again, piercing through her facade. But Anna steeled herself against it. If anything, this was a challenge that sharpened her focus. It was more than just duty, it was resilience. With evening falling, Anna found herself at the kitchen counter, crafting a meal while the light dimmed around her. The aroma of simmering vegetables filled the air, offering comfort as she chopped ingredients. The rhythmic motion calmed her fraying nerves, propelling her deeper into self-discovery. Perhaps there was strength in adaptability, perhaps this redefining moment held lessons she had not yet grasped. Absorbing her surroundings, she recognized the necessity of finding solutions, even mundane ones, in moments of crisis. Embracing the support her family needed could redefine who she was. But the haunting question remained: what would this cost her? The meal prepped, Anna sat down at the table, the weight of her choices tangible. She glanced at the empty chair across from her, imagining the conversations that could unfold if her father were present. With an agonizing twist of resolve, she returned to considering her upcoming exam, not as a burden but as an opportunity to realign her ambitions with her family commitments. There was a fire igniting within her, it was both frightening and liberating. She dared to dream of finding a balance where healing her family could coexist with healing others. But as her resolve deepened, so did the uncertainty of her path. Could she emerge from this crucible with her dreams intact, or would the fractures in her family life eclipse her personal aspirations? The journey back to her roots may offer insights, fortifying her resolve in ways that lay beyond predictability. But it was equally possible that she could lose herself in the shadows of obligation. These dilemmas posed challenges she had yet to confront fully, igniting a tension between obligation and ambition. Just as the shadows stretched across the kitchen, she heard the front door open. Would her family welcome her efforts with appreciation or resistance? Could she truly integrate the lessons of this experience into the core of her aspirations? The moment promised clarity, but also chaos. How would she navigate these tumultuous waters, poised on the brink of transformation? Anna braced for the encounters that awaited her, each interaction threaded with the potential for both growth and conflict. Her pulse quickened as she heard footsteps approach. This was just the beginning, an intricate dance between the past she couldn't escape and the future she aspired to reclaim. What would this moment reveal about her ability to lead in love and ambition? The footsteps grew louder, and as her heart raced, Anna felt the turmoil swirling within her. It was as if she stood at the edge of a precipice, daring to glance down into the depths of familial expectations and her own aspirations. The door swung open, and her younger brother, Ethan, stepped inside, his face a mixture of concern and confusion. "Hey, Anna," he said, glancing around the kitchen filled with the fragrant remnants of her cooking. "You're back. How's everything?" His hesitance mirrored the tension clinging to the air. Here was a person she once shared every secret with, now standing at a chasm built from unspoken worries. Anna forced a smile, one that didn't quite reach her eyes and couldn't mask the heaviness hovering around both of them. "Trying to get it together, you know," she replied, her voice steadier than she felt. Ethan sighed, dipping his head before looking up to meet her gaze. "It's scary, Anna. It doesn't feel real." Her brother's fear echoed her own inner turmoil. He had always been the carefree one, oblivious to their family's complexities, but now he bore the burden of the situation as well. She sensed in him a willingness to share this weight, but how could she involve him without inadvertently pulling him down with her? Grabbing a cutting board, she focused on the vegetables. "We need to work as a team. I've started a schedule for the hospital visits. Want to help with that?" He paused, eyes darting around as if searching for the right words. "But what about your studies? They're important, too. Aren't you freaking out about your exam coming up?" Guilt twisted within her, he was voicing the same fears that had racked her thoughts all evening. "I am, but right now, we need to take care of Dad. This is my priority. If I can help now, I think it'll make things easier for me later. So what do you say?" The silence that followed felt thick and suffocating, pushing against her like both a plea and a challenge. Finally, he nodded, determination flickering across his features. "Okay, let's do it," he agreed, a measure of resolve emerging in his voice. Their exchange had ignited a flicker of hope within Anna. Perhaps collaboration might allow them to stitch together the pieces of their family while safeguarding their futures. But beneath that light, a dark thread of self-doubt lingered. Was this compromise merely deferring her goals, setting her dreams on a back burner? As they launched into planning the schedule, they fell into an unexpected rhythm. They started by mapping out who would go to the hospital each day, what meals they needed to prepare, and even how to rotate phone calls to keep their mother involved without overwhelming her. Their laughter mingled with the scents wafting from the oven, a brief moment of levity against the storm of their reality. However, events took a sudden turn. Anna's phone buzzed relentlessly with work messages from her study group, each notification a stark reminder of her academia slipping away. Exasperated, she silenced it, feeling a steep drop in her stomach. It felt like adding weight to an already overflowing vessel, water threatening to spill over its edges. Ethan noticed her distress. "You okay?" he asked, genuine concern etched in his brow. "I'm fine," she said, too quickly. But her composure was fraying, impatience simmering beneath the surface. With her newfound responsibilities, how did she keep pace with expectations of school? The uncertainty gnawed at her as an all-too-familiar conflict rose to fruition, the tug-of-war between advancing her studies and fulfilling her family obligations. Before she could answer him, the door swung open again, this time revealing their mother. The fragile smile she wore was a mask, but Anna recognized the emotional toll it bore. Her mother stepped further into the kitchen, the faint sound of a weeping voice echoing from the living room. "I heard you both," she said, faltering slightly. "Thank you for helping." Her gaze settled on the cluttered kitchen table, a testament to both joint effort and underlying tension. A moment of comprehension passed between them. They were trying to navigate an uncharted territory with the remnants of their former lives eroding away. As her eyes shifted between her brother and mother, Anna realized this family needed a structure, a lighthouse amid the storm. It was clear her path was no longer solitary. She was not just a student anymore. She was a daughter and sister first, with the weight of ambition shifting under the new expectations. But could she truly lead her family while still earning her place in the world she fought so hard to belong to? The questions loomed larger than life, a tempest threatening to rip her apart. "I can be both," she whispered to herself, but the thought felt tenuous at best. Just then, another dilemma arose in the form of a call from her professor, her fate as a student hanging in the balance. Anna took a deep breath, the tension rising within her once more. How would she answer the call for her own ambitions amidst the cacophony of family demands? A choice loomed overhead, a decision that would shape not just her immediate future, but the very fabric of who she was becoming. What if this moment defined her ability to balance the weight of obligations against the pull of her ambitions, leading her into territory she had never imagined? All she knew was the answer wouldn't come easy, and as she grasped her phone, uncertainty coiled within her. Would she let her dreams slip away, or would she fight for both? Anna held her breath, the phone vibrating incessantly in her palm. The screen lit up again with her professor's name, dancing around the boundaries of urgency and anxiety. Could she afford to answer it? Was it right to prioritize her studies now while her family was both fragile and in need? A bead of sweat trickled down her brow as she weighed her options, caught in a maelstrom of responsibility. "I can't just abandon my studies," she muttered under her breath, the words barely slicing through the fog of indecision. Yet, she knew every moment she devoted to her father pulled her deeper away from her academic commitments. Could a single phone call change everything? Overwhelmed, she glanced at Ethan, who appeared engaged in organizing the schedules they'd discussed earlier. Despite their budding teamwork, a sense of isolation enveloped her once more. He had momentum, and she was stalling. "Hey, Ethan," she called, her voice trembling slightly. He turned, his brows raised with concern. "What's up?" "I need to take this call," she said, her heart thundering. "But I might need your help." Ethan quickly nodded. "Just tell me what to do, and I'll handle it." With a sharp inhale, Anna pressed the call button. "Professor Miller?" "Anna, I'm glad I reached you. We need to discuss your missed classes." Her professor's deep voice filled the air, steady and commanding. "I understand your current situation, but you have to be mindful of your academic standing." "Right," she replied, struggling to mask the quiver in her voice. "I know. I'm trying to balance everything, but. His tone turned more probing, shifting from authoritative to concerned. "You can't pour from an empty cup. What I see here is a multiplicity of roles that you can navigate, but it requires you to set preferences. You need to prioritize." Every word felt like a dagger piercing through her facade of control. She had always prided herself on her ability to multitask, but now the weight of obligation threatened to crush her aspirations. "How can I prioritize? Every choice leads to someone being disappointed," Anna blurted out, finally exposing the turmoil within. "I don't want to let my family down, but I also can't risk my future." "Exactly. You have to decide which path serves you best now. And believe me, this will define your next steps." A chilling realization dawned upon her. It was time to establish a hierarchy of her responsibilities. She needed a strategy, not just for academia but for her family too. "Thank you for your honesty, Professor. I see that now. Use the resources available to you, Anna. Don't hesitate to reach out," he urged before ending the call. As she hung up, a sense of clarity washed over her. Yes, the storm raged on, but she had a newfound clarity about her role. She could no longer play the victim of circumstance. She had to carve out a tangible path that incorporated her family's needs with her own ambition. Turning back to Ethan, she took in the sight of his focused energy, his determination a stark contrast to her earlier chaos. "I've been thinking," she began, a plan forming in her mind. "A new approach?" he asked, glancing up with a hint of curiosity. "Yes. I can't manage everything at once. I think we need to categorize our tasks. Focus on what needs immediate attention and set timelines for when to handle the rest." A light flickered in Ethan's eyes, the promise of action sparking motivation between them. "That could work. What do we list as priority?" After an intense round of brainstorming, they established a framework that balanced hospital visits with her upcoming studies. With a pen in hand, Anna began jotting down deadlines and checkpoints, feeling a surge of empowerment swell within her. Although she was wrestling with family obligations, she could harness that to create a roadmap for her aspirations. I feel more in control now, Ethan, she admitted, a small smile breaking through her earlier worry. This could be the shift we need. Just as they concluded the first drafts of their plan, a soft knock came from the living room door, pulling them back to reality. Mom. Anna called, straining to read the atmosphere of their home. Her mother stepped into the light, her red-rimmed eyes revealing the weight she bore. Could you both give me a minute? In that instant, Anna's heart sank. A familiar dread pooled in her stomach. The last thing they needed was more emotional turmoil. But an impending confrontation loomed, possibly demanding another layer of resolution. Sure, Mom. We'll be right here, Anna replied softly, an unsettling tension charging the air again. What unforeseen demands would this moment bring? Anna braced herself, realizing that while she was crafting her own narrative, the family's story had more chapters to unfold, ones she had yet to confront. Anna could feel her heart racing as her mother closed the door behind her, creating an almost tangible barrier between their burgeoning plans and the emotional weight filling the air. The silence stretched, thickening with every passing second, as she exchanged a worried glance with Ethan. Whatever it is, it can't be good, Ethan murmured, his tone laced with concern. It was a thought echoing Anna's own. Right, she exhaled, a mixture of anticipation and dread gripping her. Let us just wait and listen. Moments later, the door opened slightly, and Anna's mother stepped back into the room. There was a steely resolve in her eyes, mingled with weariness. I need you both to understand something, she began, her voice cautiously steady. Your father, he has taken a turn for the worse. Each word punctured Anna's newfound clarity, siphoning the energy from her earlier resolve. What do you mean? She asked, her voice barely above a whisper. He is unresponsive. The doctor suggests we prepare for the worst, her mother said, each word weighted as though they carried the full burden of 100 unspoken fears. I didn't want to tell you yet, but we need to face this. Tears threatened to spill, but Anna shoved them back down. I've got to be there. I need to, she faltered, the implications of her academic priorities swirling around her again. Would she have to sacrifice precious study time for hospital visits? Could she juggle this new surge of family complications without losing grip on her studies? The rapid fire of her thoughts shattered the calm she had so recently built. Ethan interjected, his voice calm yet firm. Anna, what do you need right now? This isn't just about managing schedules anymore. She cast her gaze toward him, realizing this moment called for more than just practicality, it demanded emotional strength. Ethan's faith in her capacity to handle this reality sparked a flicker of determination within her. I need to be present for my family, she said finally. If I'm going to do this, I have to focus. But I also can't let my entire future slip away. The dilemma loomed large. Ethan's presence offered a lifeline, and a realization struck her, she wasn't alone in this battle. Let us reevaluate the prioritization, she suggested, her voice steadier now. I'll manage the hospital visits, but we can set specific times for my studies around that. That makes sense, Ethan replied, nodding quickly. You can communicate with your professors to explain your situation. They might offer accommodations if they understand the circumstances. Anna felt her heart swell at the idea of openness. It was not just about juggling tasks anymore, it was about owning her narrative, speaking her truth, and allowing others to understand the fabric of her reality. I can do that, she affirmed, a new lightness emerging in her chest. Additionally, Ethan continued, while you're sorting out your family commitments, I can help facilitate the study outlines. I'll ensure we maintain momentum, even if you can only give limited time to schoolwork. With each word, a panacea eased her turmoil. Her course of action was becoming clearer. Seeking support was a strength, not a weakness. Ethan, you're amazing, she said, gratitude infusing her tone. As she glanced at her mother, who stood watching the exchange with a mixture of hope and fear in her eyes, the various roles Anna had to play began crystallizing in her mind. She had to be strong for her family, a student striving for excellence, and now she realized she was also a partner forging a new path alongside Ethan. "Let us lay out a plan tonight, then," she said decisively. "We need to tackle the immediate concerns first, and from there, we can build a framework allowing room for both my family and my studies." With a sense of purpose, Anna turned towards her mother. "We're here for each other, okay? We'll get through this together." Yet, even as she spoke those words, Anna felt the looming reality of her father's condition hovering like dark clouds on the horizon. Would her resolve be enough? Would this newfound balance hold when the storm finally broke? As they dove into the nitty-gritty details of her new plan, Anna felt a sudden chill. The precariousness of her situation felt intertwined with her own ambitions and desires. She would have to confront more than just logistical hurdles. She would soon face the emotional apocalypse that familial struggles often catalyst. What awaited them on the other side was a question she wasn't sure she was prepared to answer. "Tonight is just the beginning, Anna," she reminded herself as they began to draft their new strategy, the uncertainty of the future palpable. Would her delicate balance hold, or was it merely a fleeting illusion amidst a storm of heartbreak? The days following her mother's revelation came quickly, each one blending into the next with a surreal quality that made Anna feel untethered from her own life. Between hospital visits, heart-wrenching conversations with family, and the tight schedule she had crafted with Ethan, Anna found herself oscillating between a relentless sense of purpose and a crushing weight of despair. On one particular evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon casting amber waves through her bedroom window, Anna sat at her desk. The book spread out before her felt like a monument to all that was slipping through her fingers. She had carved out time to study, but every word she read felt like an effort to drown out the sirens of doubt that urged her to surrender. Focus proved elusive, torn away by the shadows of her father's fragile condition. This evening had a different quality though. As she glanced at her planner, meticulously organized but already scrawled over with hospital visit notes and study time adjustments, her heart pulsed with frustration. Did her plans even matter anymore? "Hey," Ethan's voice cut softly through her reverie as he stepped into the room, an unpretentious comfort enveloping her. "I thought we could go over the chapter together. You've been hitting it hard with everything else going on." "Just give me a minute," Anna replied, her voice a strained whisper. She wanted to be ready but couldn't shake the feeling that she was about to fail at something monumental. He moved closer, leaning against the desk. "I get that it's overwhelming. But, Anna, you have to take a step back sometimes. You can't pour from an empty cup." Ethan's words hung in the air like a lifeline, making her reassess her approach. "What if I can only keep balancing everything for so long?" she whispered, her vulnerability cutting through the protective layers she had built around herself. "Then we figure it out together," he said, resolutely meeting her gaze. "It's okay to feel like you're losing control. Remember when I struggled with chemistry last semester? I didn't think I'd pass. I had to let others help me. Just like you. All those late nights of studying with you paid off in the end. Here's a chance to lean on that." His honesty was like a flash of clarity. Why had she equated vulnerability with weakness? Seeking help had always been part of academic life, and now, it was necessary in her personal life. Determined, Anna set her planner to the side. "Okay, let us do this," she said, her resolve crystallizing. "I need to speak to my professors. Find out what accommodations I can get regarding my assignments. I can't keep pretending that everything is fine when it's not." Ethan smiled, a warmth in his eyes that didn't go unnoticed. "That's the spirit. We're navigating this together, and you're not a fraud for reaching out." Feeling rejuvenated, she drafted an email to her professors, explaining only what was necessary, but articulating her need for support. As she hit send, she felt that knot of anxiety start to loosen within her. The act of sharing her struggles signaled progress, a step toward reclaiming her narrative, but beneath this resolve, Anna was still haunted by a persistent question: how long could she leave her emotions at bay? The prospect of visiting her father in the hospital loomed large, and each word exchanged during those visits would serve as a reminder of their fragility, a reality that grated against her newfound sense of agency. As she prepared to leave for the hospital, a gnawing realization settled in her gut. Each visit intensified her understanding of family and love, yet continuously shredded her composure. Would this journey of confronting loss awaken more than just academic resilience? Would she have the courage to stand firm when emotional storms raged within her? This could either derail her or redefine her. Would she emerge stronger, or would each encounter chip away at her resolve? As she opened the door, ready to embrace whatever awaited her, a fleeting notion crossed her mind: the hardest battles might reveal the deepest truths about herself. What would she discover next, now that she dared to face both the external struggle and the internal reckoning? The hospital hallway stretched out like an endless maze, each step echoing Anna's mounting stress. She had spent countless hours at her father's bedside, navigating the emotional turbulence that ensued from despair and hope woven tightly together. Yet today felt different. Today, she felt a new strength sharpening within her, a resolve that had crystallized amidst so many uncertainties. As she approached the door to her father's room, the palpable energy of her family's struggles surged within her, intertwined with a fierce determination to embrace both her commitments to her family and her academic ambitions. Pushing the door open, she entered the room, modestly furnished yet charged with warmth. Her mother and brother were already present, their faces illuminated by the soft sunlight filtering through the window. As Anna stepped inside, she felt the familiar tug of familial duty pulling her heartstrings. She cherished these moments but also dreaded their emotional weight. But now, importantly, she understood, this duty did not have to preclude her own aspirations. She could balance duty and ambition. "Look who's here!" Ethan exclaimed, his expression brightening at the sight of her. Their father lay in the hospital bed, his breathing steady but burdened with a vulnerability that hung in the air like a silent plea for strength from each family member. As Anna approached, she noticed the flicker of recognition in her father's eyes, the fleeting spark of connection that mattered infinitely more than the uncertainty surrounding their lives. "Hey, Dad," she said softly, taking his hand gently. The warmth of his grip ignited a sense of responsibility within her. He needed her to be strong, not just for him but for the entire family. "How's everything going?" he murmured, his voice low but reassuringly steady. "Busy, but good," she replied, emphasizing her newfound ability to juggle. "I'm on track with my studies and figuring everything out. We're all managing together." His gaze shifted between her, Ethan, and their mother, pride flickering in his tired eyes. As they exchanged comfortable words, Anna made a conscious choice not to shy away from her feelings. She shared the shifts in her studies, the adjustments she and Ethan had made, and importantly, the pride in seeing her family take form again amidst adversity. Each story she told felt like weaving a tapestry of resilience, a testament to how commitment to one another could pen the narrative of collective strength. With laughter and shared memories taking center stage, Anna felt relief wash over her. This wasn't just an obligation, it was a celebration of love, determination, and shared purpose. Only moments later, though, an unexpected wave of emotion caught her off guard. The reality of her father's precarious condition sank deeper, but instead of crumbling, she let it coexist with courage. "Dad, can I ask something?" she ventured, her voice steady. "Sure, honey. What if I could help others even while I'm here for you? I want to make you proud, not just be someone who works hard in textbooks but also someone who illuminates paths in others' lives." The question hung between them, a bridge built upon vulnerability and hope. Her father's response came not as words, but as profound understanding. In that look alone, Anna knew he affirmed her ambitions would not dim, but rather flourish in the light of her newfound clarity. Time passed, and the hospital room felt like a sanctuary where dreams, fears, and unbreakable bonds converged. The weightiness of a family in crisis morphed into a platform for growth. In reconciling their circumstances through connection, Anna found the impetus to pursue her holistic health goals with renewed zeal. Weeks rolled by. Anna continued to balance her responsibilities, launching into her studies while remaining steadfast in her family needs. She communicated regularly with her professors, received accommodations that staved off her academic fears, and kept her family buoyed with the plans they had executed together. When exam day finally arrived, Anna stood before her classroom door, the nervous energy mingling with excitement swirling in her chest. The past months had shoved her into realms of emotional complexity, forcing her to confront every shadow and light within her. But today, she felt solid, a reflection of growth, resilience, and the purity of ambition stemming from love. As she poured her heart into the exam, she recalled the myriad insights she had gained during the past turbulent months and recognized that this experience, in all its agony and glory, acted as a catalyst for her growth. The weeks unfolded seamlessly. Anna completed her exams, maintaining a strikingly academic focus while rotating hospital visits with her family duties as her father gradually improved. Her efforts were met with applause not only from her professors but also from her family, their pride illuminating the room whenever they spoke of her journey. In this acknowledgement, Anna felt deeply validated, a true testament that her aspirations could thrive alongside her commitments. Finally, the day arrived when her professor called her into his office, a beaming smile painted on his face. "Anna, I'm thrilled to inform you that not only did you pass, but your dedication has earned you a top position in the program." Her heart swelled, a rush of reaffirmation cascading through her. This victory was not just academic, it represented every battle she had fought for her dreams and family. With deep satisfaction, she smiled, feeling fulfilled in her journey and recognized for who she had become: an accomplished student, a compassionate daughter, and a trailblazer who could defy the odds. Heart soaring, Anna emerged from the office, the sun illuminating her path as she stepped into a new chapter. Everything coalesced, the lessons replaying like vivid colors in her mind: family, ambition, resilience. In her heart, she finally grasped the truth: she was not just one thing, she was all things, a vibrant tapestry woven from strength. As she walked home that day, a tangible change shimmering before her, Anna found herself utterly confident in what lay ahead. Here it was, the culmination of her struggles transformed into achievements, conquering her fears, demonstrating her capabilities, and fulfilling the potential hidden under layers of responsibility. Earth-shattering moments like these solidified her belief that her story was her own, brimming with the possibility to inspire others. Now was the time to take the next steps, armed with conviction rather than fear. You need to subscribe now to this channel to not miss the next exclusive emotional stories that challenge the heart. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. You have the power to make these uplifting narratives reach countless souls. Comment your reactions and theories about this uplifting conclusion. Your thoughts matter and can inspire others. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this powerful story of personal transformation. Don't wait even one more second to share. Your support can light a path for many.